Someone told me that Chud Logic's into something called pup play.
I'm not into fucking pup. Okay, right. Dylan, what's with the school shooter chic? What's that about?
He called me an F slur like 20 times. It was really bad.
Listen, let's call it what it is, right? You were like still on friendly terms with that fucking nutter that was like posting my face on Twitter. Or was it Lizzo?
Some
Lizzo...
black girl though, you know, whatever.
I was
Listen,
giving you
right,
a
look, I'm
compliment.
gonna fucking level with you, okay? This is a terrible idea. You're gonna ruin the content by doing this shitty fucking gimmick.
Wait, what is this thing about pup play? What is pup play?
Someone told me that Chud Logic's into something called pup play.
I'm not into fucking pup. Okay, right.
Well, no. They wanted me to ask you the question. Hold on. If you were to do pup play in public, would you rather be the dog or the walker?
I mean, that's easy. I'd rather be the walker. Who wants to be on all their fucking all fours?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you also kind of look like the piece of shit when you're the walker.
That's fine. Who cares?
That's,
yeah, okay.
that's the dominant position. I mean,
Think about how much effort you have to put into role play as a fucking dog otherwise.
My basic take is that like this, we live in a pretty reasonable society when it comes to what's allowed in public and what isn't. As long as you're not being inconsistent. For example, you know, like if you want to be able a man and woman to hold hands, two fellas should be able to hold hands, no problem. But kink stuff, I think, as best as possible. Let's leave it behind closed doors, as God intended. You know.
Okay. Here's a question then. What if you don't do it because it makes you horny? You just like it. Is it okay then?
Well, no, because it's not necessarily about the being horny. I think that the in public society, broadly speaking, we want to make it as boring and predictable as possible, right? If I go to the shop to buy a loaf of bread, that experience should be the same Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Whilst I appreciate there might be some quirky shit happening, I think there's some lines you've got to draw. So, like, I think we would all agree you don't want to walk into your local grocery store and some fellas over the frozen goods getting sucked off, right?
I don't know. I kind of want to be that fella, Chud.
Raza, I'm down bad, apparently.
Quick question. You didn't hear any noise right now. You didn't hear an alert, right?
Did not hear an alert now.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure the routing's good. Sorry, I'm just fixing the things, but hello.
Hello,
everyone.
It's so weird being on a panel with Chud, Aiko, and Dylan. Just because this would have been a normal weekend, like every Saturday, like 2 or 3 years ago.
True. Well, I mean, listen,
Very
friends. I'm sure that there's some people here who know who you are from my chat, but there's some people who maybe might know you a bit, but don't really know. Do you want to just sort of tell what your story is?
Yeah, what's up? I'm Frames. I'm a leftist from Appalachia. I used to host panels on Twitch. I started catering too hard to the softest people on my channel, which made my stream extremely toxic. So no one came anymore, including a lot of the people you see here right now, because they would get shit on for being not far left enough. But I'm back, so we stopped that. So
Nice.
Dylan, what's with the school shooter chic? What's that about?
The school shooter chic. What do you mean? I don't know
Well,
what you're talking about.
The long hair, the sunglasses. You look like we were going to a fucking primary school and start
let's
unloading.
not ignore the unbuttoned shirt too.
Look, okay. I am just in my tourist vibe, you know, my war tourist vibe at the moment.
Did you get a cam link?
Actually, my cam link's still broken, but what I was able to do is I use this like Imaging Edge program. I'm just using a USB, so it's actually kind of laggy, but I was able to find a temporary fix.
He's not currently pooping right now, is what he's trying to say.
I'm not currently pooping, but
we still don't see enough. I don't know.
Let me just say, did you know that a lot of cam links are actually made in Taiwan, which, you know, is in the news right now. So thank you, Taiwan. Thank you, Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I've been getting loads of sock accounts. Well, not even loads, because I haven't really been covering it, but I've been getting like a lot of people coming in with like bait names about Pelosi and shit. It's been really annoying.
I've gotten like, it was a crazy amount of like Twitch DMs too. And they're very clearly bots because it's the same video over and over of some random white guy like just in China, like China's so amazing, just for like 5 minutes. And I'm not even talking about China. I'm like talking about like, I don't know, Wisconsin, and like they just come in and say, "Oh yeah, foreigner. Well, here's another foreigner who loves China." I don't know what the fuck's going on. It's just all bots.
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
I thought you were pretty like pro China, Dylan.
Oh, I love China. I just love the right one. I'm kidding.
What happened to Pelosi? Is she still alive?
Yep, her plane was not shot down. So she's still alive. She's in Taipei.
I heard she was in a Uyghur genocide camp or whatever they're called.
They took her along the way. They hijacked
So-
her. You know what? Actually, never mind. I'm not going to say it. Never
Now
mind.
that you say that, I've had a large amount of people like demand that I stop what I'm doing to talk about Pelosi's plane getting shot down on stream.
What?
I'm just like, what are you? I don't know.
Where
Wait,
did the
why do
rumors
they
start?
demand it?
Yeah, fuck that. What do you mean?
I can tell you where the rumors start. So there's this Chinese state media commentator who I think they have like 500,000 followers on Twitter. They made like a tweet basically like, maybe we should just fucking shoot down our plane. We should shoot down our plane. And it got deleted because Twitter was like, you cannot say this. But yeah, it was a Chinese state media commentator who said it. And when that was said in the same breath as the Chinese government saying like there will be a possible military response to this, and like I think it was like the PLA was releasing like military videos with like missiles firing in the air, kind of all coalesced, everyone thinking, well, are they gonna shoot her plane down? It was never gonna happen. They would never do something that crazy. But it at least caused a specter of fear, which was the point.
Yeah.
Right.
Speaking of Twitch drama, how do you feel about Razan brutally tearing apart your video? I'm just kidding.
What
True.
video?
True.
I was bullied on stream.
Which
Yes.
video?
Dylan put out a video.
The
Go ahead,
I got
Dylan.
spotted by a drone vlog.
I'm gonna link it in the
documentary.
chat.
Vlogumentary.
Vlogumentary. So I embedded with some Ukrainian troops around the Zaporozhye front line, and during that, we were spotted by like a Russian drone, and I uploaded footage of it online, and I said like, hey everybody, this isn't my doc, but this is some footage I took, and I don't really know what to do with because it doesn't necessarily fit into the wider project I'm doing. So here you go. And a lot of people were expecting a documentary, and so when it was like the audio quality wasn't the best because we were told 3 hours before we were going there, like, hey, we were just here to do interviews, but they offered frontline access. Do you want to do it? And I only had audio equipment to like sit down and like interview people in person. So, but I was like, of course, like this is a great opportunity. This is something that a lot of people don't get. I was very lucky. And so I went to the front line. I filmed everything. I thought the footage was really good. And I think considering the amount of time we had to prep and that I didn't expect I was going to get frontline access at all, I thought it was really good footage. But a lot of people were prepared for me to release a documentary, and so they were not amazed with like the audio quality, which was very windy because I didn't have a shotgun mic and it was a windy day, and or the camera angles weren't that good because I couldn't stand to the right because there was a minefield there and I'd die. So it's
Jesus.
But I think it was good. I think it was relatively good for what I was going for. It accomplished what I wanted, considering that I had like zero time to prep.
Yeah. So why did you ask for critique? Were you baiting
It wasn't
there
that
to
no,
start
it wasn't
drama?
that I asked for critique. It's that Chud was like, I got a great idea, Dylan. I was like, okay, what's the idea?
Uh-oh.
He's like, how about you just come on stream and I bring people in to critique it? And I was like, okay, sure. I didn't really know it was going to happen, but I agreed. And I go on. I was thinking more like, here's why you going to Ukraine is ideologically flawed. But instead it was like, your camera angle's fucking garbage, you piece of shit cuck. And I was like, okay, got you.
Wait, who was saying that?
I
When
mean,
did
I
this
was the
happen?
worst one. So
Today?
Dylan's
Yeah, Rhizome
exaggerating
came
like
in
crazy.
and he called me an F slur like 20 times. It was really bad.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was on a panel with you once. When you
Today?
got called an F slur.
Yes, today.
Oh,
No.
okay.
No, this was a while ago.
Oh, all right. Well,
I mean,
But it was Chud Logic stirring the pot.
well, that's I mean, you say stir in the pot.
Never.
Obviously, content brained, right? But I thought, you seem to want critique, so I brought people on to critique you, and then you didn't seem to like the fact that people were critiquing you, and I was just a bit
That's
like, okay.
come on, Chud. I wasn't angry that people were critiquing me. It was
He
I was
wanted them
getting
to
the
block it
criticism.
up harder.
Now, people were criticizing me, and I was like, okay, let me explain what happened there. And then it was like Rhizome was like, no, you don't need to respond. And I was just like, okay. So I just sat there because I didn't know what to fucking say. Because if I responded, then I was like, I wasn't taking the critique well. But if I
Dylan,
didn't
you were looking for
respond,
people to guac
and it
your
looked like
shit
I
up,
just
dude.
got cucked, so I didn't.
You were
have
looking
anything
for
to
people
do.
to guac your shit up, Dylan.
I don't know. I
Block my
just,
shit.
What
Look,
do you-
let me be clear. I like praise, but I did want critique. I just want to be able to also respond to critique, but then I couldn't because if I did respond to critique, then it looks like I could have taken
Respond
critique
by
well.
explaining
I
there was
in a-
no chance it could have been better.
Wait, if you tell me like, hey, you could have got a better camera angle there, and my explanation is there was a live missile right there that if I stepped on, I would have died. I think that's a good excuse.
True, you got the best you could then. Yes, true.
yeah, I feel like Razome's critiques were fair. I'm just kidding.
To be
Dylan, do you
fair,
think
like
they were
he
fair?
did give good
No
critiques.
joke. I didn't have to defend
he did-
Razom on my stream. Be like, yo, he wasn't like tearing it apart. He was just critiquing it.
He
didn't
did
mean
give
anything.
good critiques. It was just them being fired one after the other and me not being able to respond to it made it so it created a frenzy where people were like, oh, they fucking got him. They got that Dylan motherfucker. When it was more just like I'm just giving like some correct constructive criticism, considering that we were expecting a documentary and like he wants the videos to be better. But I think for a first attempt, I think it's still pretty good.
It's probably not worse than the critiques you're getting from people for being there in the first place. I've seen some of that on Twitter. I'm like, fucking
silly.
chill.
I got the other day. It was like, Dylan, you wore sweatpants. That's extremely unprofessional. It's like I don't know what you expected me to wear. Like we're out on the Ukrainian countryside for 4 or 5 days. You run out of clothes very quick.
Well, I'm glad you dressed nicer here than you did for the poor Ukrainian soldiers, Dylan. Thank you.
No problem.
It would have been unacceptable here.
No problem.
I have a quick question, Dylan. Just in terms of like this criticism you've gotten, which is, I mean, quite silly, right? But do you think at any point, do you think there is any time where you would consider it kind of like ethically not chill to go to a country that's like maybe an active war zone and make content? Do you think like at any point it would be not chill?
I think it can be unethical for a few reasons. Now, obviously people can disagree with me on this, but France 24 went to, and I think when people say content, I think it's like the same thing as any mainstream news media is going to call it, but they're not going to call it content. They're just going to call it news media coverage. And so therefore it's going to have like a different like air of like, wow, this is productive and amazing and useful. But if we call it content, it's like, it's like a dirty word almost. But like France 24 came and they filmed a bunch of shit. And then they immediately released it without it going through the proper safety checks. And like I worked very hard to make sure everything went through the proper safety checks. And what that led to with France 24 is a bunch of soldiers got killed because the Russians were able to like coordinate where everything was and they killed a bunch of people. And so for me, I think those like safety checks are really important. I also think that if you go there and you lie, or if you go there and you promote like narratives that are like untrue or hurtful, like you go there and you say like, wow, look at this fake Bucha massacre that happened. So you can get like money and attention and like support from like Russian bots or whatever the fuck. Then I think that's like, I think that's hurtful. I don't think anybody like coming here to film and just like either show the destruction or like interview locals, as long as they do it relatively politely, I don't think it's harmful.
Right.
Yeah. So you're saying don't extreme dad the Ukraine war?
What was that?
So you're saying don't extreme dad the Ukraine war?
Yeah, don't extreme dad it and don't Logan Paul vlog it. You know what I mean? Like the whole like, oh my god. Yeah.
Yeah, that was exactly what I was thinking about, the like Logan Paul type.
So what is this panel? Is it basically just launder Dylan's reputation panel? Like, what the fuck's going on? Dylan, talk about this, talk about that. This is fucking bullshit, right?
Hey, Hassan, look at you.
I could like step on a mine
no
and
head.
die, and Chud Logic would be like, okay, that's enough sucking off Dylan for today.
Yeah, the next.
Sorry, no. I need to point something out here, right? Because obviously, Dylan, we spoke a little while ago, famously amongst the community, I would say, and you said, some thoughts about drama, and obviously this panel is very drama focused. So I'm assuming you've sort of changed your position and you're happy to still engage, at least some level of drama. Then
this is a drama focused panel.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know. I just wanted to go on because Freeman was hosting the panel again.
All right, what did you think it was going to be?
I mean,
I don't know. I just thought we were going to chill.
I honestly have no idea either. I just came in. I was like, we're just going to hang out. Like, I have no idea.
Do we have topics? Do we actually have topics?
What do you think we're going to do? We're on a panel to talk about shit.
I don't know.
Chud, I literally have no idea. I was just like, we're on a panel.
What you up to? I don't know.
What do you mean by chill on a panel? What do you expect? Like, obviously, we're going to have some contention and discuss
There was no agenda sent out, dog. What else
was there
are we
an agenda?
supposed to presume?
Well, what was the topics presented?
This is one of my panels. There's not a fucking agenda. First off,
so what was I supposed to?
Razorm, I can understand not understanding that there's no agenda. But you two should fucking know this by now.
Well, yeah, I know there's not an agenda, so I just thought we were just going to talk about whatever. I mean, I'll talk about it if it's necessary, but I don't want drama to be the main focus of my channel. But if somebody asks me a question about it, I'll answer it.
What do you think frenemies means?
I don't know.
Enemies.
Thought it meant free money.
Like
No,
these names,
and
dude. What does
lemonies,
hippy dippy
too.
mean? What does hippy dippy mean?
Yeah, but
it means fucking
friend-
nothing. It's a worthless name.
Wait, I always thought hippy dippy was just ironic because you're a warhawk.
Do you want to know why I came with hippy dippy? I invented hippy dippy because it just sounded like hippy dippy, like it's easy to remember. That's the only reason.
Okay, enough about Dylan before Chud gets upset. Chud, we can talk about you now because this is actually one of the things I want to talk about. Your channel's obviously doing really, really well, going over the drama. I feel like that's most of the channels now. Right now, is it even like Twitch poll anymore? What makes it Twitch poll? Is it just because of the people who are already in Twitch poll bringing in new people into drama, then they become part of Twitch poll, or?
I mean, I think, there is still sometimes a focus on, because even if I talk about drama, there'll often be, some element of like a political discussion or some ideological shit, maybe, so there's still like a tinge of it. But the thing is obviously drama sells and people want to, see the drama. So it's, kind of inevitable that you kind of pivot towards what's successful and what does well.
Well, drama is, one person's drama is another person's actual life. So, I mean, it's just a scale and relation, right?
I actually don't think it's like that new of a thing. Go ahead, Razam.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say instead of Twitch poll, it's more like Twitch critical commentary, Like at least that's how I've been looking at it. It's just I have an opinion, I have a channel, I talk about that opinion on that channel about things that are happening, and I hope to engage my chatters in that conversation. Politics comes up, but it's not like necessarily like we always have to be talking about politics or something like that. It's just wherever the interesting conversation lies.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel like I don't know. There's not a lot going on in politics right now. Well, it kind of is, and it's gonna pick up, especially as elections come in. So I started in Twitch politics during the Democratic primary, so everything was just about politics. And I mean, drama was always there, though, right? And honestly, was always doing the best. But like for example, the Jason IRI thing that was going on for like 48 hours. 48-hour coverage there.
Nah, okay, that's such a stupid way to cover that. Who's covering it for 48 hours, Freems?
That's a good point. That is a good point.
That's what I'm saying. Like, people came in my chat the day I was covering it. They're like, this has been going on for 3 days. Like, dog, I've been talking about this for an hour and a half. Shut the fuck up. Like, I talked about it once. Like, it doesn't matter how long it goes on for. Maybe Jason shouldn't be a dumbass and shit like that wouldn't happen also, though.
Yeah, I think, sorry. You're right, because Twitch politics isn't like one entity. It's a bunch of people.
Yeah.
And everyone's going to cover it. I think I talked about it once as well.
Yeah, and like if you covered it 5 days after, we're going to be like, we've been talking about this for 5 days. Like, I think that's just like a very biased way to look at it, that people who want to paint it out like all we do is like look for like scrape the bottom of the barrel for content or whatever the fuck, when it's like, dude, we talked about this for an hour, bro. Like,
no, that's a good point. I don't want you to think I was shitting on it either.
Oh, no. But that's something that like people who are in like the super hyper pretentious, like my stream is Praxis faction of like the lefties on Twitch poll, that's what they think.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like I don't see them anymore. I feel like since I don't go on like a lot of panels anymore, except for like, people that I know, I think that I just forget that people exist when I don't look at them. I don't know. Like, are they? I don't know.
I mean,
when
they bring you up, that's the difference.
Yeah, that's true. I completely forgot about the.
I keep getting drugged through the mud as like an Uncle Tom, and like I keep saying it on my stream. I'm not going to say it on your stream, but like the Uncle Tom C word for Black people.
Yeah.
Because I don't align with certain people's opinions, and I don't even talk about these people. They just like to bring it up.
Yeah, I know. I think I know who you're talking about, and yeah, they're fucking shitty people. Sucks.
Yeah.
Well, that's another thing too. People can say that they're above like covering that stuff, right? But the reason why we're talking about it is because they did say something to begin with. Like it's happening from both ends. People are talking about shit. Honestly, I would even say more combative from the other end. Not a combative, but attacking, like starting it.
Yeah, I even think it's like like people. I don't think it's like a left versus leftist, the leftiest. I don't know. I think that it's just people being fucking like losers that don't have anything to do with themselves, so they need to I guess like just guess at what other people are doing so
I
that
agree
they
with you,
can.
but those
Yeah,
losers call themselves lefties and say
I
that other
know.
people
I
aren't the
know.
true lefties. So that's why I think it's lefty versus lefty, because there's a faction out there that are like, no, we are the left. These people aren't.
Right.
And they're pointing to
They can
people who
have
don't
it
even
though.
have like a dog in the fight. Like, I'm not like, oh, I need to be perceived as this like perfect fucking exemplar of leftism,
Yeah.
but they're the ones who bring it up.
Yeah, that fucking psychotic
Welcome to
Keffels
Chud
mod
Nation.
who
Hammerfin gifted
you
a
know
tier 1
tries to
sub to
dox
Deletion
Chud
Quarter. They
and
have given
you know
17 gift
blood
subs
and
in the
donuts
channel.
whatever, was saying that like she can't tell the difference between me and Destiny these days. Like fuck you, bitch. I blocked you like how many, like it's been more than a year. I don't know.
I mean, it's
But
just a way to posture and like play to the confirmation bias of their crowd, right? And like judge them and like it's just like get them a little more incensed to go fight the battles that they want them to fight. And like they claim that that's what we do as well. Like we command our drones to go out there, but like obviously that doesn't happen. I had one of Jason Society's mods in my channel the night I was covering it, right? And Jason had said like Chud and all these partnered streamers send their viewers to channels to do shit. And I was like, that's akin to me saying that this person in my chat, Overlord Cly, is like has been sent by Jason. And she typed out like, I've not been sent by Jason. I work on my own regard. I don't have to defend any adults. I'm like, exactly. That's exactly the case. Like that's exactly the same situation, but they just think that it operates differently because people have a certain amount of followers or whatever the fuck.
I mean, like it doesn't have to be I guess I don't know. Like I think people are looking for new destinies now that Destiny's not around, or I don't know what Twitter's been like because I don't really look at it, but I don't know if he's been engaging with them or not. But if he's not, that would explain why people like that are like tagging me and random people.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing too, Rosam, because the whole reason I messaged you, that I can't even remember who it was. You should go find out. Someone messaged me or came in my chat. It was like, "Oh, Rosam talked about you earlier." I forget what they said. It wasn't good, and I went back and watched it. I'm like, it seems like a fair critique.
Welcome
Like everything
to
you
Chud
said, I didn't
Nation.
disagree with. Like,
Hammerfin gifted a tier
What
1
was
sub
it about?
to Jeb Tan.
just about like somebody was trying to be like, and then IRI threw Freems under the bus and all this stuff. Like, and for one thing, people don't know the relationship me and IRI have off stream and the things that we've talked about off stream. He didn't just throw me under the bus. I was in chat.
Yeah. Same with me. People said that like, oh, why do you have to bring Ike up? I'm like, I would be brought up either way. I want to know about it. It's not like drama to me. Like I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna hang out with Jason anymore. Like I'm not gonna fuck with that shit. Mm-mm.
Oh yeah, what was this about that Jason guy going off on RR's face?
Yeah.
Essentially, what's related to Freems is like during my stream, I was saying IRI had some good criticisms or some good feedback for Freems, where it's like we can't just without discrimination just like network with anybody who claims like to be a lefty or whatever the fuck when they're like scummy as somebody like him or MFNless or whatever.
Well, the funny thing is about that Jason guy is I spoke to him and he didn't seem
Oh,
to
I
have
didn't
any.
see that yet.
Yeah, he just doesn't seem to have any consistent basis.
No,
like,
he doesn't.
Yeah.
It's like you either think ableism is bad and you think using the word retard is bad and so you don't do it, right? Or you do it and you don't care, but he wants to have his cake and eat it too. He says,
well, it's
bad.
righteous whenever he does it, Chud.
Yes.
He always does it for the right reasons, and if you don't get his reasons, there's something about it that you don't understand, and you're just focused on the wrong shit. That's how he thinks.
So apparently, if you perceive that someone has wronged you in some way, you can attack their disability. I mean, sure, you didn't know it was a disability, but like you can attack someone's facial injury, like because you're angry. But even if you're not right, if you perceive they've harmed you, you're allowed to do it. And it's just like, how can you possibly like operate on this basis? And it just demonstrates that these people don't have any fucking consistent principles. And that's why I'm so glad, Freems, that these fucking idiotic leftoids you've told to fuck off, because they're insufferable. I suffered them for fucking a year or whatever, right? Until my controversy meant they all fucked off. Yeah, they're all absolutely insufferable losers with no consistency.
So,
wag their finger at you the 1 second and do the thing they're criticizing you the next. It's insane.
when it comes to Jason, I still plan on talking to him. I'm gonna have a conversation with him about it if he'll have it. But I don't think he was in the right in that situation. I haven't wrote Jason off, until I do want to talk to him first.
Sure, I mean, listen, mate, you do
the thing
you. I'd
is-
never ask what your, I'd never ask for your association. It's up to you who you associate with, right? But
Right.
for me, it's just frustrating that you talk to someone like that and you'd expect them to have a principled thing, but they don't. Anyway, sorry, Ryzen.
Yeah, it was not even just the fact that like, oh, you need to write him off streams or whatever. It's like, and it's not the fact like, oh, he came clean or whatever. He didn't own it. He tried to walk away with as much of a W as he could by saying, well, yeah, I did it, but I'm better than these people. I'm better than these partner streamers. I'm better than these guys who do this. I'm better than these guys who do that. But yeah, I fucked up. Whatever, man. I guess that's basically how his apology went. So it's just like, I don't know. It just seemed disingenuous from the get go.
Yeah, I think probably hanging around. I mean, I will just say yes to like small streamer stoner podcast because why not? So I thought he was cool, but I mean that behavior and maybe it seems a little reminiscent of Endless's tangents about Dylan and who else? Who else? You
Stardust,
obviously.
Sans me.
Yeah. So like everyone and anyone that could get him clout, and it seems like Jason's taking the same route. But like I've never seen anyone actually behave that way in this space towards like another like established streamer, like actually make fun, like be like fix your fucking face. Like I don't know. I just feel like I haven't seen that.
You know what's funny about that too? That's why in his apology he said, "I would never, if given the choice, I would never interact with another streamer that way." So his apology is all about the optics. Like, oh, oops, like I
Yeah.
fucked my networking opportunities up. So sorry.
Well, he sure did. At least
This
with me.
is the thing that really annoys me about these fucking small streamers, right? They try and act holier than thou, but the second there's a fucking sniff of clout about, they're like a fucking rabid dog. That Jason guy replied to a tweet asking to come on, then came into my chat and was fucking begging to come on, right?
He said he's giving you the opportunity.
Yeah, like, bro, I don't, what fucking opportunity are you giving me? Like, a bit of content, sure, but beyond that, nothing, And the thing is like, I respect the hustle of people who are trying to make headway. There's people from my community that are starting to kind of stream a bit, and they're coming to me going, oh, Chud, can you promote this? And I'm like, yeah, no problem, because that's honest, right? And I don't mind if you want to fucking, get that clout, go for it, whatever. But it's the people that criticize others for it, and then they're sniveling about trying to do it themselves, And there's a bunch of streamers like that, They're taking all the opportunity to criticize the big streamers, not out of a principled position, because it gets some fucking attention, and it's pathetic.
Well, the funny thing too is if they just approached who they perceive to be like the big ones in the space, like with the right attitude and like with like a collaborative mindset, it would be way different.
Yeah, but I mean that's not how people treat. Like IRI gets a lot of fucking shit, like because people just call him a lib, and that's it. Like he doesn't do anything. People just give him like a crazy amount of shit, and yeah.
It feels like
Go ahead.
No, it kind of like the thing you mentioned earlier, Aiko, with like people are like waiting for the next Destiny. It also feels like people are like waiting for like the next anti-Destiny. It's like these two factions, it feels like sometimes. And as a small streamer, it's so fucking hard to navigate, man. Like, I don't know, who the fuck is friends with each other? I don't know.
Oh, don't assume anything. Like, don't base yourself on anything.
Yeah.
Don't assume anything, and don't trust us either, because we don't know everything that goes on.
Yeah, but that's
so
the point, right? It's like
not
dude,
I don't mean like not trust us, but what, like if I tell you something that happened about another person, I'm putting my credibility out there, but don't just take my word for it. I don't expect you to. I think something enough to put my name on it, but not doesn't mean I'm
I
necessarily right. And then,
Lemonies, I'll just say this: don't let anyone in the space intimidate you, and like try to just like seek out as many opportunities as you can. Like just do your thing.
Yeah, but that's the thing that's so it's so weird, right? Like it feels like, you can fuck up by befriending somebody. That idea is so wild to me. Like I feel like it doesn't
To the
even
wrong
happen
people, you
not
can.
anymore.
Yeah.
Not anymore. You can't exist like that as like a like once you get established enough, you literally can't you're gonna not like someone's friend. Everyone will have a friend that you don't like, at least one, and that's fucking fine, because usually if you knew if it were happening in person, then you wouldn't know your other friends' shitty friends.
And
So
just
you
don't
just
do
have
what
to.
I did and like cater to those people.
Yes,
Like don't
exactly.
like because like eventually if you cater so much, like I said earlier, your stream becomes more toxic than it would be if it
Oh
was
yeah.
like it's
Well,
not
yeah, I
good.
mean, listen, let's call it what it is, right? You were like still on friendly terms with that fucking nutter that was like posting my face on Twitter. I can't remember what their fucking name is, that loser.
Blood and
Like,
donuts.
Blood and donuts.
I
Yeah, I
what the
actually
fuck?
banned
didn't
them
even know
for.
about that until Aiko told me about that. That's
I mean,
fucking
you know, that's
wild.
like insane behavior, right? And these people act holier than thou, like they're fucking better than everyone else, and they're engaging in some of the worst, most egregious actions you could possibly fucking imagine. It's crazy.
Yo, Blood and Donuts, that person.
Yeah.
Creams. Can I realized this like 2 days ago. So a while ago, they were like adding me randomly, and there was something I said. I forget the exact interaction, but they were like, "Oh yeah, Dylan, I remember when you were in a call with me and you said the F slur like 20 times." And I was just like, I don't even know who the fuck you are. And then I remembered, Freems, I was in a call with you, like, I don't know, like a year ago. And I think I used the like F slur once to refer to myself, and they held on to that for
Oh
like a
yeah.
fucking year and then
Oh yeah.
randomly dropped it on Twitter because I referred to myself with the F slur.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? That's
Do they not know
insane.
that? I need to like pay attention more to what happens on Twitter. I feel like
I don't want to though.
I don't either. I hate
Well,
it.
Freems,
but,
what is it you want to do? That's the question. Like, what is it? What are you hoping to achieve from doing that?
to not be associated with people who are just like harassing people at that level, especially people that I like, you know, or people that have been good to me.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
lot that goes on that I don't even know about.
I guess I wish that people just told me more. I mean, I didn't know about any of that stuff with Jason until it was like way later. Until I already said my name, which again I'm completely fucking fine with. Yeah, but I
Here's
don't
what
want
I'm-
to
Can I
fuck around
just
with people like that.
can I just say something? So like you guys probably know Jason better than I do.
Doubtfully.
No.
Okay, listen.
You can-
He's the reason that I had to put in my Twitter bio that I don't agree with everybody I follow, because oh my god, sometimes his replies to people are so unnecessarily aggressive, and it's like, you know, like, okay, not every, but like almost every, you know, Destiny-esque person, it's like Twitter reply, quote tweet, and I feel like you can tell a lot by someone's Twitter. I don't know. I definitely got that vibe from him.
Yeah.
It's just we're talking about the sycophantic left, right? The left that thinks that like
Yeah.
they've got this ultimate solution that is the ultimate good, and any
That's
means to
scary.
that end is necessary to get there. I think it's pretty easy to see up front when somebody's that much of an ideologue based on the way that they talk. They care more about where somebody lands. They'll say things like, I can't pin this person down. I can't tell like where they lie on the spectrum or whatever the fuck. They'll have all these presumptions if you have a certain talking point. Like these are the things that indicate it to me when I go to channels that I don't know.
Yeah. And it's not necessarily just Jason, okay? I'm sorry. But people like that, at least. I'll say that.
There are a lot of people who are like that, but I mean, I think the future, and I think that was what Freems told me when I asked him what the topic was, like 2 seconds before. I think the future, moving forward with like content creation, is like before it was just a few people at the top and then small people. And I think there are more like rising mid-sized platforms that are going to continue to grow, and there will be, I think, more of the very obviously stupid, not real criticism, like from people like Blood and Donuts, will get tuned out. It'll just be like it'll I don't know. We'll learn to not really tune into it, and I think it'll be better because there will be more independent.
Well, no one tunes
viewers.
into it as it is. None of these people have actually got any fucking viewers, you know. And it's like they just hang around
Right.
like a fucking bad smell. And it's like
I just mean like for us. Like
yeah, I
like
mean,
for
I
us,
ignore
yeah.
that just because it's relevant, but I ignore them most of the time. There's a bunch of streamers I see desperately scrabbling for clout, and I see people kind of engaging with them, and you know, it's like you do you. Like I'm not trying to say like do as you please type of thing, but I just look at it and I think this person who desperately wants attention, you know, for their shit tier fucking 15 viewer, you know, mutual aid streams or whatever.
Yeah.
And you know, it's just like, yeah,
I mean, like that whole section, like that's not gonna last. Like the festering, like the bottom of the pond scum of Twitch Paul will be like fighting in the sewage and mud for however long the platform lasts. But we're gonna forget about them because I think the platforms are merging together. A lot of like YouTubers are starting to stream more and vice versa. And I don't know. I'm feeling pretty positive about the future.
I think as it is, I already don't pay attention to a lot of like what they're saying, but I mean, I think as you say, they're still going to exist, and as long as they exist, I think other people who are coming up are going to have interactions with them, and it's going to be tough to navigate. They're not going to be sure like exactly, you know, who's where on like the good faith side of things. So I think like it's worthy of criticism in that regard. I don't think us criticizing it is us looking for the end of it. I don't think there's an end of it. It's just acknowledging how stupid it is.
I think it's just evolving. I think we're gonna get super fucking bored of the nonsense because there are like more there are more interesting things.
That's the thing.
No, I mean, wait, what'd you say? I'm sorry.
We're bored of it.
yeah. I just mean like it's once we're in the ocean, we're not in like a pond anymore. It's opened up. There's more room, and then those people can they can fester by themselves. But I think that more credible people, like people that are coming up, I think it'll be more obvious, I guess, when there are more voices that have enough of a platform for people to find them, more information, like all the Deaf Noodle stuff. I had no idea how much he was just completely making up, and I'm like, holy shit.
I haven't been paying attention to that stuff at all.
Deaf Noodles and
it sounds
Papa Gut.
juicy. I need to find out about it, but
oh, you don't know about Deaf Noodles and Papa Gut?
Chud.
Papa Gut is really cool. You should talk to him.
Also, to finish what I was going to say to Chud too, I thought about it further too. I also need to quit being. I'm going to shit on myself a little bit here. I need to quit being such a pussy when it comes to confrontation. But like in my defense, I kind of isolated myself there to where some of the people I'm frustrated with are the only people still coming around. You know what I mean? Which is my own fault. It's no one else's problem but my own.
Yeah, I mean.
So I think that's part of why I ignore Twitter, though, right? Or was ignoring it.
I mean, I don't think it's good for people. So if you can avoid it, I just can't, because usually I'm always making things like, on my phone, so I can't look and scroll through Twitter.
I feel like Chud Logic's avatar thing is staring at me and judging me right now.
It is.
It's making me uncomfortable.
Listen, the thing is I understand. Like I went through it, my own sort of journey with that, right? And you end up kind of cucking yourself in order to placate some of the most pathetic, most sensitive people in your audience, and it's like, through breaking through that, you end up appealing to more people, because look at all these fucking all these streamers that are kind of stuck at around 20-30 viewers. All it's because they've got this very insular community and they don't like to look outside of it. So you end up really cutting off your opportunity to grow. And for what? Yeah. To sometimes like even hold back on what you really want to say, not speak your truth. So yeah, it just seems a bit.
I'm cool. I'm even fine with being like I'm fine with being at 30 or 40 viewers, as long as like I'm not walking on edge. Like I almost quit streaming. Like I almost was just like, fuck this. This isn't fun for me anymore. Like,
and you were in the midst of it. You were in the midst of it, a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah. I was like, I had like one of the bigger panels back then. And then I fucked it all,
Well, I mean, there's also a chance if you kept going, you'd have just been burnt out by now, and
it's also true.
Have a shortage of panel hosts. So, yeah, I think this is a good time. And obviously,
don't get me wrong, I will never host a daily panel again.
Yeah,
that shit fucking sucked after a while. But yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. But that's part of what burned you out too, though. Like,
I would say, Chud, do you think that your racism journey was like when you really put your foot down with your community? I'm being completely serious. I'm not saying that ironically. Like, I feel like that's when you like kind of, or maybe I'm getting the timing wrong, but like,
I mean,
kind of had to put your foot down.
I've always been into, whatever, edgy comedy or whatever. So like it's always something that I found funny, and it's something that is, you know, as a streamer, is an extension of my, you know, comedic element or whatever. And I think when that stuff was happening, there were some people that were like, you know, a bit uncertain with it or whatever, maybe. But I think overall, people just kind of like the fact that, you know, there was this kind of element of like edgy humor coming back a little bit. And yeah, I think that most people can look at it. And, you know, I don't mind if people don't like it. If people want to criticize me for it and say, oh, that was wrong. Like even Supreme didn't like some of the stuff that I did and told me about it. And that's fine. But I just think that, you know, it's one of those situations where if you don't like what your streamer's doing, if you can, maybe switch to another stream while that's happening. And if you really, really don't like it, then stop supporting them. But I think that there's this entitlement that happens where viewers want to kind of like hold you to account to do the kind of content that they want individually, you know?
Right.
And
I love that you said even Supreme, suggesting he's the closest to being racist. Even that racist Supreme.
No,
had some issues.
I just mean that Supreme, who I consider to be like a friend, criticized me, right? But, you know, I think that we're seeing this recently as well. Like, you've got like, so Beyonce put the word spaz in a song, and
that was Lizzo.
or was it Lizzo?
Some
Lizzo...
black girl though, you know, whatever.
No,
Well,
Lizzo
Beyonce-
and no, listen, mate, you
Beyonce
just caught
too.
yourself out because Lizzo and Beyonce did it, okay? Listen, I don't think all black female artists are the same, okay? I can at least tell them
Fuck.
apart by their singing voices.
Listen,
You caught me.
Chud's
Just
got
some
his
black
finger
bitch,
on the
whatever.
culture, right?
But there's this thing, it's like, you know, it's almost like songs are getting patched like a video game. Oh, you put the word spaz in and we don't like it. Oh, okay, change that. That's not how fucking art should work. I mean, using art is you know, it's pop music at the end of the day, but it is still technically art. But there's this desire to kind of patch this stuff out. And I think, no, if you wrote a song and you used that word, you used it for a reason. You know, there was a song literally called Let's Get Retarded a couple of, like, 20 years ago or whatever it was, right? But now the
20
word,
years ago.
but now the word spaz is like, oh no, we got to edit that out in post. And it's just like so stupid. And I just think it's very cringe. And so that's, you know, looking at that, it kind of resonates with me because although I'm not Beyonce for a number of reasons, you know, I do kind of relate to the fact of like cucking yourself a bit in order to placate certain members of the audience, and it just is wrong. And I think you're best off just being your true self, you know, even if
Yeah.
that is a little bit racist.
I think
I
Yes.
completely agree.
Go ahead, Dylan.
I think ultimately it's up to the artist on whether they're gonna like make a like change to something. Like if I put a word, for example, I think recently, like I said, mongoloid, right? And to me, I had no clue that was actually offensive, right?
Mhm.
That was just like a disconnected, like I just thought that meant somebody was stupid. And so if I released like a movie or something and I used it like 30 times in it, and then I found out later that wait, maybe I shouldn't have used that, I would want to change that for my own sake because I just wouldn't want that to be expressed in any piece I would put out there that I meant it in that manner because I wouldn't want to confuse anybody, make them think I meant it in that manner.
Right.
But if I also was like, you know what, I said it at the time. People now, I've expressed perfectly clear what I meant. I didn't mean to be offensive to anybody. Just take it as it is. I think also we should like listen to artists and like what did they mean when they said this? Like if I said it to be offensive, then like okay, then there's a real reason to get outraged. If I said it and it was just like an accident or I meant it in another way, then you can be more understanding even if you want it to be changed. And I think there needs to be like some wiggle room to be more understanding of people when they make mistakes or if they put something in there and they didn't really understand it. Like I don't think like Beyonce or what was it, Lizzo?
Yeah.
That was the other person. I don't think they meant it to be offensive or anything, and so they probably were just like, "Oh, never mind. I'll just change this one line. It doesn't matter that much."
I didn't even know.
Yeah. Am I allowed to say that?
No, there wasn't that. They were cucked to the mob. I'm telling you, they were like
Well,
the back.
I wanted to
I reckon
say,
so.
like,
Yeah.
you have to do it for you. You don't like not because of. I think outrage. There are some things worth being outraged, and then there are some things that get the same energy as if it was equally outrageous. But again, like the critiques, I think the real critiques get drowned out by all of the noise. So I think it's like if you realize that it doesn't represent what you wanted to portray, then sure, but not if you meant it when you said it. I think it's probably good to like think about it more, just to make it happen less, because we're all gonna take L's for sure. I just would like to take as few L's as I can in advance prevent.
Wait, so you agree with them taking it out of the song? Is that right?
No, I think it's I wouldn't tell them to not take it out. It's a choice. Like it's kind of like I think that you shouldn't do it because of the backlash or the outrage. If that's what you meant,
Well,
you know?
but they are inevitably doing it because of the outrage. There's no other reason, because without the outrage, they wouldn't be making the change. The song would just continue as is, right?
Wait, do
Well,
you think
maybe
it's
they didn't
impossible?
realize before.
Yeah, there.
I think this though too, like with a multi-million-dollar record company, like they're doing it because it is actually going to like significantly impact their sales. Like
Yes.
most of the time, we're talking about random Twitter drama and shit, and like who is that going to affect? You know what I mean? So for them, it directly affects their bottom line. So the outrage is like leading to like that conclusion on their side. But normally, it's not going to affect anyone's bottom line or anything.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Obviously, like Beyonce herself probably isn't, isn't personally going on to change the song. It's a record company doing whatever needs to be done. I completely agree with that. But then if you look at like artists 20, 30, 40 years ago, rebellion against, like, because back then it was conservatives that held cultural power, right? So it was conservatives that were more critical of this kind of stuff. So when conservatives were critical, back then, the cool thing was to rebel. And the cool thing was to go, no, fuck you. God Save the Queen is a great song, or whatever it was back then. The fucking rock stuff or the demonic shit. They were like, fuck you. Now, Marilyn Manson, yes, he's a bit of a fucking predator or whatever. I don't really know the story. But back then, he was fucking, he was doing live shows pissing on his fans and shit. And people were going crazy about it. And it was like, no, and it got worse and worse. And I just think that rebellion, it's kind of gone now. And now it's just, oh, you don't like a word that I said? Oh, I better change it. And I think, that's why if you are someone who's willing to kind of, push a boundary a bit in terms of like making something that's a bit offensive to people, and you don't just double back and go, oh no, I'm going to change it because you didn't like it. I think people kind of respond to that because we live in the age
I
where,
agree and disagree. I think that like it was the rebellious thing to do and the cool thing to do. I still think that is the case. Like there's people asking for people to change it, and then the people are going to think the ones who don't change it are the rebellious cool ones. I still think that dynamic is there. I don't think it's cool to give in,
But at the same time, sometimes people are being reactionary boomers and not like being able to let go of the past. Like now, I realized something, and I'm sorry, Lemonies. I just wanted to say I realized something. It's my birthday soon. I'm going to be 37, and I realized why people would always tell me when I was really young, how like, oh, I remember being young like you. And I was like, oh my God, it's like an inside joke for the future. Because now I'm starting to understand that. And like seeing, I guess, my childhood come around full circle. I don't know. How old are you, Chud?
I'm 35.
Okay. So
36.
Yeah,
I'm 36. Sorry,
36. Okay, yeah. Okay, so about the same. So I don't know. When we were growing up, there wasn't like Facebook or even MySpace or something. Like I think that people that are like new adults now grew up on the internet. It's just I think we're just having to settle into like it's been very extreme, and I guess I don't know. I don't like the pendulum saying, but you know what I mean. I think we're figuring it out.
Well, is it just me, or is this section of Twitch just like older than the rest of Twitch? Because I feel like in the rest of Twitch, me being 21 is like smack dab in the middle of the normal Twitch demographic. But every Twitch streamer in political Twitch is older than me, except for like Rose Twist.
I think that's a good thing, though, to be honest, at least in my position, because like I like the kind of content I'm doing, like critical commentary, and I think Zoomers are going to grow into it too.
Yeah.
But you're right. The audience is older too. Like our audiences are like 5 years older than average Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's also good that we're seeing a crossover too with like the YouTube commentary.
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed there's been a lot more crossover. People like Papa Gut, for example, and the people that Stardust has on her stream.
I'll agree and disagree. I think that there's this especially because there's that Dingo video out there right now where it's like, oh, Twitch poll people are going to like network with YouTube commentary. Nah,
I don't know
I think that Sonzal and Stardust are doing that actively because they have people who they network with. Chud does it sometimes because the content that he's doing like is spicy enough. Like it's this overlap with them, and maybe he'll collaborate with them. But I don't think anyone's like really like just like going out there and being like, okay, let's have some overlap with the commentary community, especially because they're all like
know why you
super
would say
young.
That.
Like what?
I don't know why you would say that. That's exactly what I've been doing. I've been talking to a lot of commentary creators
Who's
that
like
are
Augie RFC, Nicholas D'Orio, like Turkey
no,
Tom, those guys?
not those guys.
Okay,
There's
well,
a
if
whole
they're not
other
those guys,
commentary.
that's not the community I'm talking about.
That's
Basically,
the commentary community that you're talking about.
that's who calls themselves the commentary community. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's just a couple. That's a handful of people, and they're not
Yeah, same with
even
Twitch
the
poll. We
biggest
call Twitch
people.
poll
They're not
Twitch
even
poll.
the
It's not
biggest
all Twitch
commentary
politics.
people.
Oh, I know that. Yeah.
Like what happened with like Papa Gut and Death
Yeah. So you
Noodles
mean
and like
YouTube commentary as a genre, not the commentary community?
That's what I meant when I said it.
Yeah.
I actually didn't even know the specifics of like.
Oh yeah, there's the commentary community who's like Augie, Turkey Tom, Nicholas D'Orio, and like their orbiters. Like if you go to Augie's channel, you'll see like all of his recommended channels. And
he's
then there's
like
people
really
who
young
do YouTube
too, right?
like commentary,
He hasn't
basically.
been.
What has his age got to do with anything, Aiko?
Yeah, I don't.
No,
That's
I mean
what they
like
call
new.
themselves. Like,
I'm sorry. I don't
Chud,
mean to
you can
say
back
like
me up in this. You know
more
what I'm
in
talking
like
about.
Look, that
but, like,
Dingo
the-
video. The Dingo's like fair.
I didn't
fair play
see that.
Okay, fair play to Dingo. He's doing his best or whatever, right? But his video I enjoyed it, but there was some real stupid shit in there. Like he had a clip from Xanderhall from 2 years ago talking about infiltrating the fucking drama community, which was incredibly cringe at the time. But it was also like a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, however long it was. That's like old fucking news. Like, yes, there is like this crossover that's happening, but it's not as if like he's acting like Twitch poll, the Council of Autists have all got together and gone, we're going to work with commentary more.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's much more organic than that. And it's that, for example, like, Augie, Nicholas, D'Orio, and some will just, sometimes pop by my stream and just say, hey, what's going on? Maybe see if there's any drama I'm covering they might be interested in. I'll see stuff from their community and I'm like, oh shit, that looks interesting. I'll cover that. Nicholas might send me a DM and go, oh, hey, Chud, that fucking Mama Max guy, he's been outed as a fucking freak. Check this video out. So it's this kind of organic kind of like working together. It's not like it's, oh, I'm going to go speak to the drama community because Twitch poll's dying. It's just that it's more so that there's maybe some quiet times that are happening and you're like, where can I find content from? This looks juicy. Bang, off you go.
Yeah, I didn't know the can of worms I was opening up there. I didn't know about all this other stuff. I just meant like I'm seeing more YouTube people. I would view it as a good thing. I think it's more content, more things to talk about. I don't know.
I've heard that like commentary is on YouTube. Like there was like a separation of what was considered commentary and what was considered like tea or drama channels, and I think that's also merging together. So when I think commentary, I think of like people who do social commentary.
I mean, I don't do much like social commentary when it comes to like other like, hey, this YouTuber did this with that YouTuber. It's not really a main focus of my YouTube channel right now. But I still interacted with Nicholas D'Orio, and I'm still looking for opportunities to try to see if we can collab with these people. Not because we necessarily even have the same fan bases, but I'm just looking everywhere I can to see how I can collaborate and try to get my face in front of other people who are not used to me, right? And this is a crowd that I haven't really been in front of before, and I think a lot of his audience probably hasn't the same would go back and forth, I would assume. So yeah, me and Nicholas D'Orio have actually sat down a few times like, hey, how would it be possible to work together? Like I want to collaborate with whoever I can to like grow. Obviously I have a certain amount of standards, but I mean, I to be honest, I saw Nicholas D'Orio interacting with other people. We chatted a few times on stream by coincidence, and I was like, hey, this is a guy, he seems chill with me. I'll see if I can collaborate with him. And that's how it happens organically. There was no like message from Chud Logic who was like, hey, Dylan, did you know there was this guy going around, this drama guy? Yeah, I know you said you're gonna stop doing drama, but did you know he'll do an arms deal with you? Like that didn't happen. I just messaged him one day, like, hey yo, do you want to see some of this footage I'm working on? If you're interested on it.
Yeah,
So
he makes some good videos. I've seen a couple of his videos.
But yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, the kind of organic crossover is like some of the best has brought for me anyway. Some of the best content I've done. Like the Mama Max coverage was really good recently, I felt. And, I think people will complain about this sort of dynamic or talk about the drama and stuff like that. And it's like, complain all you want. There's hundreds of people that want to see it, thousands of people that want to see it in total. Just you're giving the people what they want, essentially. So yeah, I don't have any qualms. I sleep perfectly fine at night. No issues for me.
Wait, so people are actually hating on this? I'm sorry that I'm like out of the loop on that.
There's two factions. There's people who hate on people who cover drama because they think, oh, this is bottom of the barrel content, this is so beneath you, like, or this is so beneath me in my viewing, like, and they love to announce that in chat. And then there's people who are in the commentary community, like the channels that I mentioned, like that small sphere of creators, who are framing it out like Twitch politics is getting like dry and stale since Trump's left office, and they need to find some more fertile ground. So they've been looking over in our corners of YouTube and shit like that.
That's
Nice.
So goofy.
Freems, do we have a game show prepared?
We don't have one today because Dylan has to leave.
Really?
Because Dylan has to leave early today.
Okay, should we freestyle it?
First, sorry.
I can freestyle it. Are you ready?
Go for it.
Wait, hold on. Are we done with the conversation? I feel like we're.
What is
Sounds like
this?
we're
Okay,
done.
what is
Yeah,
this
you
game
should-
show? It sounds like fucking shit, to be honest.
Listen, stop. Okay. Most fuckable fruit. Go. Chud first.
I'm a conscientious objector to shitty panel games, so I'm not doing it.
This is the
I don't-
Chaos Cast portion of the panel.
No, I feel like
Engage
we're.
with food, like Freems knows. Come on, everyone knows. But I will for you, okay?
Thank you.
I will say that it is a consensual lemon. Is that good?
Whoa, chill.
Consensual lemons are I'm not saying, or is fuckable a good thing? It's a good thing, right? It's like you would want to, but you don't necessarily. You wouldn't tell them necessarily. It's not invasive.
Wait, I
Sure.
don't understand.
I'm trying to make it cute, and because you seem like a very nice person, and I don't
you.
know. I was
Listen,
giving you
right,
a
look, I'm
compliment.
going to fucking level with you, okay? This is a terrible idea. You're going to ruin the content by doing this shitty fucking gimmick. Do not do shitty panel games. Just have a conversation about the drama, okay? Why can no one fucking host a panel worth of fucking shit? Please, I'm begging you. Don't fucking do this
Chud.
to yourselves.
Listen, I agree. This is true. I agree.
All right,
Yeah.
fine. I was just so bored. Wait, no, I wasn't.
Well, fucking say something then. Make a conversation, for fuck's sake.
Okay, okay.
the
okay.
world.
No,
Sorry.
I don't-
Chud, wait. This is a good conversation. Chud, talk about your frustration with panels. Go.
Okay, listen. Here's the problem with panels, right? It's more so. I noticed it most when I went on the panel to talk about men's issues, right? We were fucking primed for it. There's a couple of characters there. Could have been a fucking, great panel. And everyone wants to have a productive conversation about men's issues and da-da-da. And everyone's trying to be fucking, 200 IQ fucking take, sweat lording out these positions and shit like that. People don't want to fucking see that. People don't care. There's no fucking, if you look at the lure and the people coming into Twitch, right? There's very little talent, I think. There's very little talent that's coming in at the bottom end. And I noticed that on this panel, right? Because you had all these people who just don't seem to fucking, they wanted to talk about, let's talk about men's issues and let's put it in this way and put it in that way. No one fucking cares, We want to hear about, is sex work real work? Are sex workers taking advantage of men? Shit like that. That's the fucking dynamite content, So, yeah, I just feel like there's
Isn't
people...
that what Dylan did though?
What do you mean?
Like that's the kind of stuff. I mean, not framed exactly like that, but that was like a lot of hippy dippy topics were like that, right?
Okay, but Dylan got together contentious people that were big characters to clash. That was the fucking great thing about the hippy dippy. It was the contentiousness, the 4v4 format. That's the fucking dynamite right there, right? And that's why,
Right.
And the conversation moved. It's like, would have a topic, we'd stop, move next to the next thing. Contention would continue from one topic to the next.
Yep. I mean,
So, do you
the
want to
thing is-
know? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The thing
Chud
is,
wants
with-
contention. There needs to be contention to be content.
I'm not saying
And-
there needs to be contention now, by the way. I'm fine just talking about
Yeah,
drama.
yeah,
But,
yeah,
but
yeah.
like broadly speaking, Dylan, sorry, what do you think that say what you want to say? I'm
Spicy,
interested to know,
opinionated people.
What do you think the success of Hippy Dippy was? Why did it go on for so long? Why was it so successful?
I think there was a few reasons, and I don't know if any of you guys, because most of the stuff I put out in the Twitlonger was for me, because I just wanted to list out my ideas, so I had something to look back upon. But for me, I think a lot of it had to do with consistency. A lot of people do a panel for 3 or 4 weeks, and then they'll stop and they'll restart it up 2 months later, and they'll be like, "Why is nobody here?" Knowing that there's gonna be a show every single day at this exact time. Hippy Dippy was on basically every Friday. I think during the first 2 years, there was only 2 periods that I didn't do Hippy Dippies on Friday, and one of them was because I was in a psych ward after a suicide attempt, right? It was very, very fucking consistent. And I think that was one of the reason. The other reason was because all of the panels at the time, and I agree with Chud Logic on this, was like, okay, so I am an anarcho-communist, you're an anarcho-syndicalist, and you're a Maoist with Pol Potist fucking characteristics. How can we all figure out the housing crisis? It's like, okay, so if you threw any of these words in front of somebody who's like a normal American who goes to work, fucking drinks black coffee every day, they're going to be so fucking confused at everything you're talking about. They're not going to relate to any of the stuff being talked about. They're not going to relate to your manifestation of one of Frederick Engel's old writings. You need to make it topics that are in the everyday that people discuss when they go to work, because they want to be able to say in the chat, like as a crowd, like, fuck you, I disagree with you, or hell yeah, you said the right thing. But if they're reading like 3 paragraphs out of some Marxist literature that nobody's fucking heard of before, nobody's got anything to react to. So yeah, you need contentious everyday topics. It has to be topics that people can hold on to. It can't be topics that they can't manifest because you're talking about the material conditions of the barista class or some shit, right?
There's another vector there though too. Like, yeah, you need like to have people who are on opposite poles, but you can get people of opposite poles and it's a boring as fuck conversation. I think it also, we have a lack of charismatic, opinionated people who know how to bring that entertainment factor to a panel.
That is very true. And the problem is, for me, when it came to Hippy Dippy like closing down a lot of stuff, I mean, a lot of it had to do with just my general disinterest, since I moved on to like obviously like other projects. But a lot of it also had to do with like we were just not getting the same amount of recruits. We were not getting the same amount of like new people. I mean, the Hippy Dippy recruitment show, we had people like RGR, Heem. We had a lot of people start on Hippy Dippy recruitment. We were getting some people that were really good, but not a lot. We weren't getting as many people that we thought was good for the main show, because 90% of the people that would go on Hippy Dippy recruitment, we'd have to like have them on like 6 or 7 times before they'd be good enough to put on the main show, or they would never be, in our opinion, good enough to go on the main show. And I'm not trying to be mean to the people who didn't make it. I'm sorry if I'll be your Simon Cowell if necessary.
Yes.
But like not everybody's cut for it.
Yes.
And that's fine. If you want to do streaming as a hobby, that's perfectly fine. But I want to give people like, I don't want to say I want to give people careers, but I want to like get people like in front of audiences that they can entertain for years, not for like 6 months till you get bored of streaming. And we're not going to do that with people who are just reading, who are just saying the same thing as everyone else. This is what most people going onto our panel think that's going to be the case, right? They, in their mind, have all their ideas listed out, and they think they're fucking brilliant, they're the smartest guy around, and they might be very intelligent, but then they're gonna go onto a panel thinking they got everything listed out, and they've been, like, debating their shampoo bottle for the last week, ready to do this panel, then they get on, and this is the performance. So when it comes to, like, abortion, I mean, like, Jonathan and Chud and everybody, you know, they kind of already said everything, you know, I was gonna say. But I just wanted to reiterate, and by the way, I don't want to like discredit what Samantha said at all. I think what Samantha said was really valid, especially coming from her.
Who is
experiences
Jonathan
with I'm just making up people, okay?
Oh, yeah,
With miscarriages. But I you know, like I think most of what I said, you know, most people agree. But yeah, I agree. It's a woman's right to her own
Dylan,
yeah,
out
body.
of all the
And that's
panels
it.
you hosted,
That will be the performance.
out of all the panels you hosted in 2022, what do you think is the most memorable one?
Oh shit, I don't know.
I think it's
Can I
easy.
just throw a shout out to Danabo?
No competition. It's the Haas Destiny discussion.
The Haas Destiny Championship?
Oh, my bad. I guess you didn't host it. It was the modern day debate.
Oh,
Damn.
you mean the one that I was involved in? It was Destiny, Jackson Nickel, and that was fun. The most memorable thing I did, I think, was the big Hippy Dippy Championship with the Titantrons and all that. The showmanship needs to be very good for these shows, because a lot of people forget this is a video game platform, right? If you want to host like education hour, like you're the teacher and you're in a classroom, you got the chalkboard out and you're going to do that. Okay, you can do that on YouTube, you can do that on a lot of platforms, but this is primarily a gaming platform. It's going to be hard to make somebody switch from Overwatch or Fortnite or some big wacky personality over to you trying to teach somebody about the fundamentals of like modern monetary theory. It's going to be very difficult, so you need to have showmanship, and that's the main like thing I would give anybody who wants to host a panel or wants to just stream, period, is you need to have some way to drag people up and be showmanship. So it's hard to make somebody sit down and watch you for an hour, just one person talking for an hour. You gotta have some showmanship, and that's what I wanted to do with Hippy Dippy Championship. I always cared about that much more than the roundtable.
Good rant.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the well,
Well,
say
let me ask.
enjoy.
Okay, let me ask the panel a question quickly. Okay, this really proves the point, right? Who can name 5 memorable streamers that have come into the space in the last 3 months?
Ooh, 3 months.
Time? Shit, I don't.
3
It's
months.
not so
There's none.
erudite. 3 months.
Nah, not so erudite's my era. Same with Mythic. Like it was the
Oh.
winter, you know.
God, Mythic's been fucked.
Yeah,
man,
it's
that's
been
like
a
for Mythic.
while.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
Mythic's an example of someone who had loads of potential. Unfortunately, he got fucking banned. But yeah, he was someone that came in, and it's like there's a reason his viewership shot up straight away, right? But like, you know, him and other people are kind of the last of that group. But recently, you know, I just don't think there's anyone that's coming in that is particularly interesting. Like I can
Wait,
see
what
why
about
Dylan had
that?
problems.
What about that dude? Somebody online? Is he like older than 3 months?
In my opinion, there is a thing that I think that the Prime Kai circuit of streamers, I think, just like get the wrong impression about what content is. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I think
I-
that too. Like anyone that started streaming like within the last 3 months probably still hasn't found their footing yet, right?
Yeah, it's
like,
too
If you've
soon, maybe?
started,
I get
yeah,
what
if
you're
you've
saying.
just
You're not
started,
incorrect, Chud,
then,
but
Listen, now I disagree. There's people that you know, I think
or that were noticed in 3 months. Is that what you mean?
What I mean is like the thing is not even that made it big or like something like that, but I'm talking about people that like, you
New
know,
names that we interact with on the regular.
yeah, new names that we interact with. You know, they go on panels and they make a name for themselves and they go up against people. Like there just is no one. It's just kind of like a boring sludge of people who don't really seem to have many strong opinions or strong takes and seem conflict averse and stuff like that. And you know, I think this is why Dylan struggled. Is people say, "Oh, the hippy dippy fell off" and stuff like that. You know, make whatever criticism you want. I mean, listen, I love watching Dylan get criticised, but I think that there was also a big issue. I think there's also a big issue of there is like a lack of talent. And, you know, there was that one person you argued with, what's her name? Ninetales, something or other, right? And like, they didn't get onto the main show because they're fucking boring probably. And then they were arguing with you saying like, you're taking viewers away from me because you're doing all these shows. And it's like, if this is your attitude, you're going to fail.
Who said that?
So there was this person
Ninetales
called
Cosmic
Ninetales who believed that I didn't put them on the main show because I don't know, it was like it had something to do with transphobia. Is the reason she didn't make the didn't make the main show, because she's trans, and I was being harmful because I wasn't platforming the correct trans voices, right?
Oh,
And
okay.
it was a weird position. It was a weird conversation.
She was
but
basically saying you need to do mutual aid with your stream, like that you had the obligation to like raise up smaller or lesser like
yeah,
political
and
voices.
I tried to be blunt, and I said that the most harmful thing I could do is platform trans voices that are not going to perform well on the main show, because then what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically choose people because they're trans, and I'm number one going to tokenize them, and number two going to give a lot of people a fast ticket to the top of my like panel circuit when they really shouldn't be there. Then they're untested, then they don't know really what they're doing, they get steamrolled by somebody like Alex Stein, and then boom, like what do you do? Like now, then I had an incident, and then there's nothing I can do about it anymore. Like they just got fucked, and so that's the last thing I want to have happen.
how long has Will been streaming?
Well, Neff?
Will in his channel.
Oh,
Well, Wilneff's been around for a little while, and yeah, sure. I mean, he did the Extreme Dad stuff, which caused this like bubble of drama, and that was really good. That's encouraging. Like someone could come in, put out a video, and there's drama about it. I think that's an encouraging sign, and Wood is definitely someone I would put in like my to watch thing. But I think he's been around a little while, perhaps.
Yeah.
We were
you know.
on the first recruitment show together. That must have been March. March is like what, 7 months ago?
Yeah, well, I think point proven, Chud, right? There's not a lot of new names that we can name who are regulars in the space who we see as like charismatic, entertaining, opinionated political figures, or not even political people, but just commentary people on Twitch.
Yeah, sure. And I think just one thing to point out as well. Listen, now I'm going to launder Dylan's reputation, okay? But I think there's this perception that Dylan was like bringing people on purely on the basis of entertainment value, which of course is part of it. But I would imagine that also there's a consideration of you don't want to bring someone on who's really weak and then they get steamrolled by someone and it makes them look terrible, right? Whereas, I mean, listen, correct me if I'm wrong, Dylan. Maybe this is going the other way a bit, but I think sometimes varieties would be brought on and it would be like, even if they're like totally stupid, they're very entertaining, right? So like I say, I think that there's definitely a consideration there of like not wanting to make like lefties look totally stupid, right? That's my
we had
perception anyway.
this is why we had a recruitment show, so people could get the feel of it. Not only so they could build connections and they could be in front of an audience that's not two people for the first time ever. Because a lot of people, when you start streaming, if you haven't like came from YouTube or Twitter, and I never had this experience because I marketed myself a little beforehand, so the lowest I really ever was 30. But a lot of people like start with like 2-3 viewers, have no clue what to fucking do, how to like get in front of a bigger audience, and this is the first time opportunity many have, and they learn the ropes, they understand how to talk to 7 people at the same time, which is a skill. And so once they run it like 4, 5, 6 times, then maybe we can put them on the main show, right? Sometimes that goes well, sometimes they crash and burn. It's a learning process. You try again. But yeah, I don't want to throw anybody on the main show just to get steamrolled. So some people think they're a lot better debaters than they actually are. And I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm just saying that because I'm being honest.
Dylan, I have a question actually that I've been thinking about. Do you feel like there has been, like towards the end of it, that the Twitch poll community has been really oversaturated compared to the beginning?
What do you mean oversaturated?
Like, do you feel like there was like more creators coming all of a sudden?
No, for me, it felt like all the old creators that I used to rely on to bring audiences, they were either A, not interested in the panel circuit anymore, B, they were banned, or C, they just fucking retired and left the platform, or they like did other things. They're doing other things now, or they're completely gone from Twitch. Like a lot of people, I would send like invites to, and they just wouldn't reply anymore, right? And it's not because they hate Hippy Dippy; it's just they have no interest in panels, period, anymore. And so it was very difficult for me to honestly make it worthwhile for smaller creators, because the idea is you want to have a balance of like maybe 1 to 2 new creators and like 6 old established ones, because you want to put them as these new creators in front of as many viewers as possible so they can get a good leg up. If you have like 6 new creators and 2 established, then you're gonna kind of like oversaturate people with new faces, and these people aren't going to get as many people to them, and you're not going to be as effective as helping them up. And so what I was having happen is I was getting like 4 and 5 new creators and only 3 or 4 old creators. And I kind of saw like the writing on the wall, and I didn't want to see the whole thing sink. So I would say we had new creators. We just didn't have old established creators, but we also weren't having any of these new creators rise fast enough. And a lot of the new ones also weren't that good. So it was like a combination of multiple factors that made Hippy Dippy like economically unfeasible.
Yeah,
Right.
just
No,
because-
I get that, but I'm more thinking like not the established show, but like the recruitment show. I feel like all of a sudden there is like a huge influx of like new creators. But that's kind of what you're saying, right? There's like too many new creators.
It's not that there's too many
extremely
new
bottom
creators.
heavy.
Is that I mean, there's always been a lot of new creators. It's just there wasn't a lot of new amazing creators that rose fast enough at the speed we're losing old creators. So it made it like not sustainable for like helping people grow. Because if I just have 7 new people in a room and just me, then all I'm exposing them to is my audience and only my audience, not to all the other audiences I would bring in regularly with a panel show, which made them so good for marketing yourself if you knew how to play it right.
Why do you think the more established creators got kind of bored of the panel stuff maybe?
I think for a lot of them, they either like, they just got bored of doing panels. Once you do it, like somebody released a list today and it showed like the people who did panels the like most times. None of them were like Vosh or Destiny. It was people like Counterpoint, CTV, Sprouticus, Turk. These people who are like panel regulars. Almost, I don't want to call them our jobbers, right? Because they're not our jobbers, because they did well. But they were like almost like our in-house people who would come in constantly. It wasn't those big creators. They would come in every once in a while to kind of like satisfy the itch and then leave. And eventually, once you've been on a panel show enough, you might just get bored of it. If we're playing to the same crowd as usual, there's not really a reason to go on it to market yourself, because if it's the same crowd every time, you're not growing from it. So you should invest your time somewhere else if you want to grow. Or the growth isn't enough to satisfy it, so you don't really want to go on. I mean, there's always like the idea, well, you got to fill in a week with content, but I think for some people that just wasn't enough of a motivator, and so they didn't want to come on anymore.
I think
Also,
the other
like-
problem as well that we're noticing, I think the other problem we're noticing as well is this is the first summer out of like all the major COVID lockdowns, and I think that 2021 2020. You had people who were stuck at home. You know, maybe they were working sort of from home and they were finishing their work. They're like, oh, what am I going to do now? Oh, Twitch seems fun, da da da. So I think that there's less people who have got the availability to really put the time and effort into streaming too. So I don't know if there is like this saturation. Really, it is just, I think, more so that there's less people, you know, to go live on OBS. And it means that you don't have as many people, because obviously if you want to find a few decent streamers, you're probably going to need to look at like, you know, 10, 20 people going live to find one person that's actually interesting and good. So yeah, there's a big lack of that, I think, but I don't know.
Yeah, plus like there, even if it seems like there are a lot of like Twitch poll streamers now, if they're all streaming the one person, it's not really changing like the saturation of anything. I don't know, because nobody's watching these people, and I'm not
it's
sitting here
not
pretending like
diluting
I'm
an audience.
like
Yeah,
I'm some kind of big streamer or anything. Like I'm pretty small and just happen to know big streamers, and that were nice enough to come on my panel. But yeah, nobody's watching them, so it's not really affecting much. But you also don't want to bring those people on the panel because there's a reason nobody's watching them.
yeah, and I mean, let's be real, we're all small streamers on this panel. Like,
True. I mean, I guess relatively to Twitch
You
as a
are
whole.
all small failed streamers in a small failed streamer space. Okay.
I mean, I just think there's a lot of skepticism and stuff. I think that, you know, one of the big things about content creation is that there's peaks and troughs always. Things go up, things go down. You just got to try and be consistent in yourself, make sure you're doing everything right. And I think eventually it will pick back up. I think we'll see with the midterms, people are going to come to Twitch and catch up on that. I don't know. I think as winter comes in, more people are going to be online. Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, losing people like big streamers and them getting banned and going to YouTube sucks. But yeah, I think there's still more to happen going forward. So we'll see what happens. You know, if it gets to December and like things aren't kind of picking up and things aren't really happening, then maybe I'll change my tune. But I think there's still reason to be hopeful.
Yeah, I've felt pretty optimistic too. Maybe that's because I've seen a small bump in my own channel. Not to mention on top of like being a little bit more free too, I guess. And like I hang out in Chud stream, it seems to be doing really well.
I'd be honest, I gotta be honest, it would be weird for a show to run for 2 years with no changes to the format and for it to still be successful. Like, unless it's just like, you know, somehow the secret, but it suggests like Dylan's adapting. Like, we all have to adapt our products. Like, things aren't static. So it's not a surprise to me. But I think for the viewers, it feels static and it feels like the same demands are there. It feels like the same desire to watch that content is there. But like, we know that like there's an ebb and a flow, right?
Yeah, I think for me, like the championship was my real like attempt. Like I thought this was the thing that could really break out into the rest of Twitch because it was so like centered on entertainment and these like entrances and like very personality based, which is what Twitch is great at. It's super personality based because you get your own music and your own intro, and you have a ring announcer who was like a former rapper, like Billy the Fridge. We were gonna get other guest ring announcers. We could have guests like celebrity judges from like the space. And I think it had a lot of potential. And if I was ever going to relaunch Hippy Dippy, I would concentrate solely on that because I think that has the most potential on Twitch.
Is there any panel right now that people are really watching that's on Twitch? Like
Frenemies, of course.
Yeah.
There's one.
I mean, more debate panel. Like I watched modern day debates last night, but like on Twitch, I don't really think there is anything. Like,
do you just mean of the order of magnitude that like Dylan's panels would see?
Exactly. Like, okay,
Then no.
so for example, I was there when Dylan
Charm
started.
Hall. There's Charm Hall. Sorry, there's Charm Hall Royale.
Right. Yeah. I heard it's an excellent show.
So right now there's occasionally political shit show panels hosted by Queen Alexa. She doesn't have a channel, but she, you know, people will like get together and like they'll stream it from wherever. So the viewership of that is usually like, you know, 100, 200. There's the Wick panels. There's the Prime panels. Wick gets like, I don't know, you guys might know better than I do, but I think like 50 or less. Prime is like the same people who've been watching Prime for 2 years. There's like no new people in there.
What about
and Stardust does her stuff typically off on YouTube now. She does her like more serious panel on YouTube, so she can invite whoever the fuck she wants. and then she does the Chaos Cast, which is a non-serious panel on Twitch, but it doesn't like really bring in the people that like we wouldn't see the same numbers that you would see in a Hippy Dippy or whatever the fuck. And besides that, there's like a panel here and there, but you know, that's it.
Well, the reason why I even asked that is because I was there when Dylan started Hippy Dippy. Like, me and Dylan were actually pretty good friends then too, playing Minecraft together and stuff.
Oh,
Dylan,
yeah,
you have to admit, part of it is you were right place, right time as well when you started.
oh yeah.
it's
Because
like
for me,
yeah,
I mean, yeah, 100%. Like Big Brain had just fallen. I remember there's a message in it. A lot of people don't even know who Mindwaves is because it's just been so long on this platform. But in the message, one of the things I left in my like thing, because again, it was mostly for me, was like Mindwaves. I fucking told you so, because he didn't think Hippy Dippy would last like 2 months. He thought it would be like dead after 2 months, and it ended up lasting over 2 years. But like, yeah, 100%, I was the right place, right time. And right now, it's just not the right place, right time to start a panel of old. You would have to succeed right now in the panel space. You would have to do something extremely transformative to really like get people's attention, right? That's why the only reason if I ever threw my head back in the ring, it would only be championship, because I would go all in on the performative nature.
Dylan,
of
do
it.
you agree with my assessment of panels being glorified Zoom conferences?
Sometimes they're a little bit like that, but like Zoom conferences can also be extremely fucking entertaining. Like if you watch if you watch some of these Zoom conferences, which are like local city council meetings, like Mary, you're a cunt, I hate you. It's just like these like politicians yelling at each other. It's fantastic. Once you're in front of a screen, people feel like they can say anything to each other. It's wonderful.
What about the Jeffrey Tubin Zoom call?
I'm
You know what I'm
completely
talking about?
unfamiliar.
I don't think I know it.
He was the was he a radio host? They had a Zoom conference and he didn't know his camera was on and started jerking off.
Cool.
Oh, okay, sure, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I think
Zoom, we're a Zoom conference with a TOS.
Yeah. Man, that happened during COVID. Jeffrey Tubin. I don't know why that just came to my head. Yeah, I think that you could do something just based off the championships because of the presentation, interviews, all that stuff. It was pretty good. Yeah, I don't know what else to
But
say
there's
about
also here's another thing. A lot of people don't have a crew behind them that knows what they're doing. Hippy Dippy would not have lasted as long as it did without Danabo. It would not have lasted as long as it did without Danabo. Without Danabo, Hippy Dippy would have gone under like 8 or 10 months earlier, because it was him booking for a very long period of time. Definitely once I went to Europe. Once I went to Poland and Ukraine, like it was almost 100% him booking every time because I was just too busy. And so having people around you who are willing to like help you book and like have a good mind for like how people will like interact with each other, even if we didn't always agree on booking decisions. Sometimes I'd look at a show he booked me, I'm like, Danabo, we just had a fucking scandal about this. What the fuck did you just do? But I'd have to go with it because he booked it, and ultimately he always treaded the water. So I would say a lot of people also don't have a good team behind them. Like they're just trying to do it by themselves, which is an enormous task to book so many people every single week.
Yeah, I don't know. I never thought to do that back in the day. I just did it all myself.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when I did my little panel show, I did the same thing. But yeah, I think the problem is you need to have someone committed to doing it, because this cancellations, reaching out to people, like, because some people are bigger guests can sometimes be difficult. Like, someone like Destiny, for example, I've always found has been very communicative in messages and easy to get in touch with, to do content with. But then there's other people which are kind of like impossible to get hold of. And I'd imagine that would be even more so for some like right winger TikTok type person. I don't know. That's my perception anyway.
I never had to invite Destiny on. I just wait till someone name dropped him and then he would demand to come on. So back then,
I think I could have gotten like another 5 to 6 months of the Hippy Dippy if I really wanted to. But I honestly think there was like a 10% chance we could have kept it going as it was, and it could have been relatively okay. But then like Danabo, like he had that like health scare with his family that he's been generally public about. And so like once you lose like very valuable team members, like you just get fucked. And so like for behind every successful stream and every successful content creator, there's like a team of either editors or bookers or people who like make it all possible. Because I could never manage all of this by myself.
People in my chat were like, Danabo, mention Danabo.
Huh.
The whole time. I did, but I don't think anyone heard me.
I don't think I ever went on Chud's panel, but I do remember watching one specifically. Remember Kiara Husk?
Oh God!
Oh, I
Dylan,
vaguely
Kiara,
do.
Yeah, no.
What do
What do
I-
you mean? You argued with her about fucking Biden and shit. Biden or bust. Bernie or bust.
Oh yeah,
That was
Kiara
February
Husk. I was
2020.
we were arguing about Biden or bust, and she got so fucking mad at me. I don't even remember why.
What,
Damn, I missed-
did she have a different name at any point?
Yes, but I can't remember what it was. Oh, they totally had a different name.
I'm
can't
trying
remember.
to remember.
I hear she goes by Kira Chats now. I'm just kidding.
Whoa.
That's another thing too. Like, say what you want to about like, I guess Kira Chats, whatever. Fuck.
Oh, you mean Bad
Nicole?
Bunny? I don't know
Bad
anybody
Bunny.
who calls
There
her
we go.
Kira Chats.
All right, I'll continue to call her
What
Bad
a
Bunny.
stupid
Then
name.
I'm blocked on everything from them. Same with Mike from PA, but them not going on panels actually hurts it too. Could you imagine having them on panels? The shit was entertainment.
Can I will say this now that
Was
Hippy Dippy's
he
under, I can
ever?
say this freely, and I don't give a fuck. I tried so hard to get Mike from PA to do a Hippy Dippy championship, and I would have 100% put the belt on him, no questions asked.
Oh
Because
my
Mike from PA as Hippy Dippy champion would have been the best content this
Oh
platform
my
ever would have seen. Could you imagine? I unironically was ready to book, like, I would have had like villain theme music every time he comes in with that belt. There'd be so many people like, fuck you. People hate that man so much. Like, I'm not a huge fan of the guy either. We argued about
Oh my
Afghanistan a
God.
while ago, but he would have been the best heel champion. And could you imagine Bad Bunny and Mike from PA tag team heel champions? Could you imagine that?
They would
It
just
would have
fight
been
with
the
each
best
other.
content ever. I swear. I wish he could have booked it, and we got like so close, but he never would agree. He would just delay conversations about it forever, and then it just never happened.
Yeah, that it would have been interesting if people like him were still coming on. Dylan, did you still need to leave at 5:30?
I can talk for like another 10 minutes.
Okay. I just wanted to remind you just in case.
Thanks.
Well, but this is the other problem as well, right? Is and this kind of leads on from the Mike from PA stuff, but it feels like a lot of people are in that sort of so-called fortress arc. I don't know what experience you had dealing with Vosh, but my understanding is like, yeah, Vosh is very much now, I'm not really wanting to speak to anyone. I don't think he really debates that much. He seems to just do his kind of like 4 hours of React content, and that seems to be it, or talking about this or talking about that. So. And he's not the only one. I think there's other people as well who seemingly don't want to collaborate. And obviously I'm quite aggressive to the leftoids or whatever, but it feels sometimes like I can't find someone who's got like, a very kind of soy position to come on and argue anymore. Just seems like people don't want to.
I wouldn't say lefties are on a fortress arc. I think big enough ones are. Like, I think there's no real benefit for Vosh coming on. But yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, what's the incentive, especially if they've like gone on something and the public perception is that they got BTFO'd.
Vosh did a decent job moderating the hell debate that Dylan had.
Yeah, you did an okay job. Yeah, I think more
I was
guest
surprised.
more guest moderators so I could participate more would have been great.
Yeah. Sometimes I would notice you bursting with things, and yeah, maybe
It really
maybe you
hurt
should
once
try
it
it.
was more Ukraine topics, and it was like
Mhm.
anytime it was a foreign policy topic is when you would see me get the most angry, because I just hear somebody say that like the most backwards, dumb, fucking wrong thing I've ever heard in my life that makes me question if they should have the right to vote, and I can't say anything.
It would be fun if you did, though. If you had one last one and you just like did whatever the fuck you wanted and then crowned Mike from PA with or something
That would've
without
been
him
great.
even being there.
Mike from BA is the new
Just like
hippity
have a
champion.
picture, a Photoshop picture of him with like a belt on his head.
The most fun I ever had was watching Haas cope over the Hippy Dippy Championship. He was like, it was a fake belt, and he had that. I think he was out with this girl. I don't know if it was a date or not a date, and her just being like, and him explaining how he like, hey, no, like they give this belt at the end, and like I didn't even
At the
stay.
point you start explaining that to your date, it's no longer a date.
Like, and it ended with her just saying, but you still lost, and it was the best content just watching that happen, just watching the fallout from the Hippy Dippy Championships. That was the I think the pinnacle of the Hippy Dippy Championship was around that time.
When are
The
you
Hippy
guys gonna
Dippy period.
fight?
He can go over to Ukraine anytime.
It's even bigger now, dude. Now it's like Russia versus Ukraine. This is like
True. It would be like the actual Rocky, but just Ukrainian and Russian version.
Do you think you could take him?
Like, actually, now I'm confident. Like, at the time, I was like, oh, maybe. Who knows what'll happen? But now I'm, like, 100% confident because I just don't think he wants to fight.
Have you been, like, wait, so do you work out? How tall are you?
I'm 5'10".
Oh, okay. I don't know why.
Do I
thought
work
you were
out? Currently,
shorter.
not really. Give me a few months' notice, I'll be fine.
Okay. Yeah, I think you. I feel like Haas doesn't like pain. He just looks like that kind of person that would stub his toe and cry.
I said to him, I remember I said, have you ever taken a punch before? And he couldn't answer the question.
I wish
I don't think he
Twitch would
has.
quit banning these people.
Huh?
I wish Twitch would quit banning these people.
I
everyone.
wish they would just get more granular advertisement like algorithms so that they could not worry about brand risks, because that's the only reason we can't restream people is because we don't have targeted ads. They're just concerned with having like Coca-Cola sponsor like Haas or some shit.
Oh, by the way, sorry, people have said in my chat, sorry, that you mentioned the Haas thing. What about the vote recount? That was a classic drama as well.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, you're right. Dude, the best Hippy
That-
Dippy Championship moment was the Hippy Dippy screw job with Demon Mama and Destiny and CTV coming in. That oh my god. That was such good content. And I really wanted to have like Demon Mama eventually take the belt. I really did, because I thought like it would be a great like comeback arc. She'd be an amazing heel champion, but we could just never organize. That's the thing. I had so many great ideas in my head. It was just impossible to manage it with people. It was just always impossible. I feel like people's personalities always got in the way of just the best content being coming about. But that, to me, and people treated it so seriously. It's like when I kicked Xander Hall out of that one roundtable. Like, people got really angry about it, and I loved it because I was working them. I was just 100% working these fucking people as they got so angry about Xander Hall or this one person winning the belt when this person should have truly won the belt. When you think of the votes, and they got legitimately angry. I got so many blocks. I got so many unfollows. I think I lost like 300 subscribers on YouTube because of the screw job, which isn't like a career ending or anything, but it was noticeable and crazy that I inspired that much passion in people, which I wanted to do it. So I was happy about it because I knew people would tune in next week to see what I had to say about it. And that's when I started shooting the promos, which were so much fun to shoot.
I really like Loner Boxes. I remember that one.
Loner Boxes promo was great.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
It's okay. I was basically done, but yeah, there were some amazing moments with the Hippy Dippy Championship.
Yeah, that just shows you like another part of the problem too. Like none of those, almost everyone you name doesn't do panels anymore. That was involved in that.
It's impossible.
Demon Mama doesn't do them either, right?
I don't even know what she does these days. I've talked to her a few times in DMs, but I don't know what she does these days.
She just started.
She had COVID. She had COVID, I think, a couple times.
And she moved.
Yeah.
Yeah, she has a new studio or something in her place, I heard.
Yeah, I think she might just be coming back, which is very, very pog. Was anyone ever like kind of like in on it or like picking up what you were putting down when you were playing the thing? Because like I felt like Demon Mama didn't like instigate the recount thing. Who was it? Was it Vadim?
Vadim did not know what the fuck was happening.
Yeah.
And I'm saying this as maybe I should have told him more in advance what was going down. But the more people I told, I knew, the more people would like be willing to like leak it and be like, hey, everybody, don't worry, it's all just fake, or it's all just like performance, or it's all just we're having fun and like putting on performance. If I do that, then it ruins it, because there's nothing I hate more in a movie than if they look at you and they say, well, that just happened, and it's like, okay, well, thanks, that was fucking fantastic, you just ruined my immersion. And so I wanted there to be at least like 40 to like, I wanted 30 to 20, like somewhere in that range of people to believe it wholeheartedly at all times. And I think I hit that number quite accurately.
Okay. I'm thinking just because of the Demon Mama thing, I don't know. I feel like, and I didn't talk to her about this at all. It just like I had been watching the thing. I watched like Vadim talk to her, and she was like kind of just like waiting to see what would happen and just letting whatever happened. And I don't know if that like made her. I could see that being like a little bit of an influence, feeling like it was a little unfair, but I could also just completely be projecting on it because I don't remember. It was a long time ago. But I just remember thinking that it was like Vadim really pushing it.
Yes, it was.
Because of
That's
the
exactly what
justice.
happened. Vadim,
Yeah.
Vadim, like, you know, got kind of the wrong end of the stick and took it like at 1,000,000 miles an hour. And, you know, I think Demon kind of was dragged along through it because it
Yeah.
kind of got to the point where everyone was arguing and Dylan had to kind of say, like, guys, this is just a show, right? Like, I'm Vince McMahon. I'm Vince McMahon.
I still
and he-
didn't know
he-
if Danabo was doing nonsense though, shenanigans.
Well, the funny thing with Vadim is he ended up coming on my stream and we spoke for like 2 hours about it. And at one point he like broke down. And look, men should cry, okay? Let's fucking go. If you want to cry, get your emotions out there. But it was like the level of upset over this like meme fucking panel thing was just insane. And yeah, I think that a lot of people kind of were upset by, you know, well, not upset, but kind of annoyed with like how stupid it was.
Unironically, I should have just gone into I should have been more considerate of like Vadim behind closed doors, hopefully, and like told him stuff, maybe. But I should have leaned into it harder. I think I could have used that momentum to really shoot it into something different. Because it was the talk of everyone was talking about it. Everybody cared about it. Everyone was emotionally invested. In that split moment, people actually cared who was Hippie Dippy champion, right? Because people were really, because it was part of something now. And that was the point. And I could have grabbed that moment and really ran as like getting like a Destiny manager. We actually did. Lycan was Destiny's manager for a while. We never like took off anything with it, but I should have leaned into it more. I should have leaned into it more. I think we could have done something with it.
It is wild, like, because I mean, if you think about it, all of this shouldn't be that serious, like Twitch as a whole. But yet, like, I guess if a team had a breakdown on Chud Logic stream, I didn't know about that. Or like other things will happen, and like people start going after each other's jobs and like trying to like dox people all around too. Like Chud Logic told me his face got doxxed, which is, I think that's fucked up. I also feel like I owe Chud Logic I don't want to say an apology that I didn't like stand up for you more during that, by the way. Because I never for once thought like the allegations were real. I've talked to you. I've had many conversations with you about it off stream. I haven't spoke about this on stream until now. So, which is also shitty of me.
No, listen, mate. I mean, at the time, I understand. Like, there's a bunch of fucking soy leftoids going mental at me. It's difficult to kind of step out and go, oh, hey, I don't think Chud did anything wrong. You know, and there was plenty of people who didn't want to do it publicly, which, you know, is fine. Approach me privately and whatever. Obviously, we've spoken privately about it, but, you know, it's kind of long history now, you know?
It is.
So,
but
yeah.
I've always told you I'd
to be
mention it,
clear.
and I figured to do it now while I have like the most amount of eyes on me. So
I can
no worries,
see
appreciate
Chud breathing. I'm very like just watching his shoulders go like this.
What'd you say?
Chud's avatar
avatar.
is just like it breathes like this.
I see it now.
Can you move the pecs? Like you should.
It is wild when this shit gets taken that far, and people throw out allegations without any proof. I mean, even look at like, I know we've talked about it on the panel before, but the Extreme Dad situation. Like, there's a lot of shit being thrown around, and no one knows what's true and what isn't. No one has. People take too many people at their word. I mean, even on a smaller scale, like the Jason IRI situation, like that would have been solved pretty quickly if he would have realized that the video didn't exist of it happening.
Well, the problem is I mean, that is like, you know, people are just willing to jump to conclusions based off what chat says. Like, never listen to chat. That's a terrible idea. Ask them to post a link always. But the other problem you've got with all sorts of things like this is I just feel like people aren't able to look at and analyze situations in a way that comes to the right conclusion. You know, often you'll see people come to a conclusion that fits their own biases, and I think that's the telling sign. Is that if you see someone whose conclusions always fit with their biases, that's the sign of someone who's an ideologue, right? because that's impossible. There's no way that every single situation can align with your political ideology and philosophy. That's just crazy. So I think that's a big problem. And I think people just need to be a bit more willing to look at things more honestly and take a step back. And that's all I've done in some situations. Like when I spoke out about the Britain House stuff and gave my takes, people came and shout on me relentlessly for it from like lefties and shit, because they were like, oh, I can't believe Chud's saying this. Da, da, da. It's like, I'm saying this because I believe it's true, right? Like this is what I think, even though my bias is against it. Like I'm not really a massive gun person or whatever, you know. I don't know. It's just kind of cringe, but
yeah, no, for sure. And like, I hate that you see that a lot with Destiny. Destiny brings a lot of that out. Like, am I a huge Destiny fan? No, I'm not. But whenever he's right, I'm not afraid to say that he's correct. Like, but the second you do, people freak the fuck out. And it's like,
welcome.
I mean, it makes no sense. It's like
well,
it's
it
like
doesn't have to be like that. I have, and this is not applicable to most other chats, but just for me, not having debating in chat has helped me not be as like derailed. I know this is a thing that is like not possible in most chats, but it has been good for not being able to have people with different like opinions without and be able to get through something and talk about things that are more obvious and not like skip the basics. I think we forget that there are different reasons why people might have a take or be doing what they're doing. Like not everyone's an ideologue. Sometimes they're just on autopilot and they're just going with it. You know what I mean? But sometimes they actually are a true believer. So I think it's like good to know what if there's like if there's backlash to be put towards them, it should probably be like the something relevant. Because I see a lot of like assumptions and kind of snap judgments just looking at a situation, and then when you don't know like the details, like you can't talk about a concept and then apply the concept to the individual situation that is right there in front of you when you don't know the details yet. You know what I mean? It's kind of like backwards.
Yeah. No, I get it. Well, that's pretty much the end of the podcast. Unless there's anything else anyone wants to bring up real quick, I know Dylan's got to get going.
Yeah, I gotta head out because my stream is supposed to start, and I get to gloat about Taiwan right now, so I'm really excited.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay.
Nice.
I was gonna let you go first. Feels weird to ask you all to shout out your channels, but
Yeah, you can find me at twitch.tv/Keffels. Okay, please like, subscribe, follow. You get the whole thing. Thank you all.
Brigade.
I appreciate it. You all. That's not brigading. What
I
do you
know,
mean?
I'm
It was a
just kidding.
joke. Okay, sorry.
I'm just
Okay.
kidding. I'm just kidding.
Okay. Just making sure that shit spirals out quick.
I
You
know.
can find me at twitch.tv/Dylanburns TV. I'm about to talk about Taiwan and how China just got cucked really hard. So you all have a good night. I'll see you guys in a bit. And this is my new studio. So if everybody's like, this is a new background, I have a studio now in Ukraine. I'm really excited to use it.
It's good to see you off the shitter.
I am very happy to be off the shitter. That stuff stank. So you guys have a good one.
You too, buddy.
Bye, Dylan.
Bye-bye.
catch you later, mate.
Also, I appreciate all you guys coming on here.
Yeah, for sure. It was a good conversation.
Yeah, it's
Thank
been
you
fun.
for having me,
absolutely.
Dreams and Lemonies.
Chud, you want to shout yourself out?
Yeah, for sure. So I think that what I'm actually going to do, I mean, I feel like everyone already knows Ico and Rhizome, okay?
Welcome to
However,
Nation.
I want to let everyone know about
Anonymous user
Freems
gifted a
and
tier 1
Lemony666
sub to Keffels.
shouting out now in the chat. So go and follow the channels for this sort of thing. I saw that looks like the panel's doing pretty good, mate. Between the two of you, you got like what, 60 viewers or something like that, I think, maybe more. That's pretty good. I'm pleased for you.
I haven't even looked at the viewers.
No, that's fine. I just noticed when I sort of looked at your channel there. So, but yeah, go.
I mean, I don't mind that you said them, but I hadn't looked at them yet. So yeah, that's pretty good.
No worries. So let me
support these guys.
Freems.
They're
Yeah,
putting
go
on
and
the
support
show
them.
right now.
For sure. Okay, that's my
I
shout out.
appreciate I appreciate it, dude.
Absolutely.
And I've
Go
my
follow
stream
Chud
is in
Logic.
go follow
Um,
Chud Logic. My
Unless
stream
you
is in
don't like
a long.
racism and edginess.
Nah,
Good,
it's fine.
good
It's not that
racist
bad. People
question,
say
Miss.
it's bad. Not that bad.
When I say racism, it's like racism that isn't real racism. I
My
don't know.
stream is super
Uh,
sexist.
I mean, mine isn't. I just don't give a fuck about women. That's it.
I'm the Chud Logic of misogyny.
Listen, a little
It's
bit of
fine.
bigotry every now and then's fine. If
I love you guys.
if
I'll
applied
talk to you
correctly.
soon. All right.
Yeah.
Later,
Hi,
brother.
Rhizome.
See
Thank
you
you.
guys.
Everyone can follow Rhizome.
Okay. Well, is there anything else?
That's it. Sorry if it wasn't spicy enough for you. There hasn't been a whole lot of new drama to talk about. I wish there had been.
No, listen, I had a good
I was
time. We had sort of 300 viewers consistently my end, so that's good. But it would have dropped if we'd done that stupid game. So hopefully you take my recommendation into advice. Listen, when I shouted at you, it felt like I was beating a child. Okay, honestly,
Yeah.
right? And I don't I don't make the habit of beating children. So next
promise-
time do the right thing. All right.
I promise, like
sorry.
the food topic stuff, no one likes it except for the people with the
So,
panel.
Chud, usually our games, I purposely wasn't going to do a game because Dylan had to leave early. Normally our games is we'll read a quote and you had to guess who said it, like an incel or a metal band, and it's really short.
I think
it's-
President Sunday and Shakespeare would. Who said that? Someone said that.
Yeah, say a quote and you have to guess whether it's President Sunday or Shakespeare. Yeah, that's a good idea. It's like that usually.
Oh my god, that's actually pretty good. I think my
Or,
viewers get a kick out of that.
Yeah, we had one like who said it, Donald Trump or a supervillain. And then they're actually pretty hard. Like they're hard to guess.
Yeah,
so,
I got a lot wrong.
yeah.
I think
So
I did good at a President Sunday one.
It's not usually food topics. I think Lemonade just wanted to know what fruit Dylan would want to fuck.
That was the whole point.
Okay, no worries. Well, listen, thanks for having me on. I'm going to bounce. Appreciate you
Yeah.
all. Okay, and I'll speak to you
Stay
soon.
safe.
See you later,
Cheers.
Chud.
Bye. Oh man. Well, I'm a bit worried about doing the panel because I think that what's going to happen is a bunch of my viewers are going to turn up randomly in my Discord and they're going to go into one of the voice channels and they're going to sit there. They're just going to sit in the voice channel and not leave even when asked. And eventually, I'm going to have to ask my moderators to come along and move them along. I mean, I don't know. Does that remind you of anything? I don't know. I'm going to start that. Listen, I wanted to, Freems is trying to get his panel going. No, I tried to do the Gypsy panel, but no one was really up for it. The video's just gone up. I know. Some people were complaining about that and griping. I thought it was fine. I enjoyed it. It was a kind of a meta conversation, but yeah. I feel like I'm really at a position where I need soys. I need soys to argue with. I need soys to fight with. Because, that's who I get most annoyed at the moment. Like, ideally